I'm older than her. I'm too old for her at this age. It's kind of weird. It's pretty fucking weird. But this particular day, I don't know. I've seen it for like the billionth time, and then I acted on it. And I can't ever undo that, man. I had no reason to act on it. I had no reason to have her added. I had no reason to fucking say hello to
Hey,
her.
spam, put that bitch in chat.
Nigga, I hid the pills in a toaster, and he found them.
This video was made with the intention of documenting all information mentioned and educating viewers, and was not created with the intention to disrespect the deceased or the deceased family and friends. If anyone you know has an addiction problem or struggles with substance abuse, please contact 1-844-289-0879 or 1-800-950-6264 to get them the help they need. All that I ask is that you, the viewer, utilize the information given in this very video to formulate your own educated opinion on the subject at hand. Rest in peace, Jeremiah Sims. It's no secret that in recent memory, many find their niche in the car of the internet and all it holds. Trust me, I'm no stranger to this concept. However, with something as vast and diverse as the web, there are many facets one can indulge in to advertise a sense of self-expression. For one, you can make suspiciously similar videos to certain creators you admire, utilizing their music and editing styles instead of being original. Or you can make commentary videos or music or whatever. However, at the price of online attention, you can garner some unruly detractors that you butt heads with on occasion. If said detractors find a piece of online dirt on you, it's hard to escape the clutches of the allegations, no matter what you try. Try as you might to defend yourself, holes will be poked in your story, your words will be psychoanalyzed, and your private interactions will be brought to light, no matter the circumstances or subject. In any case, it sounds like a pretty shitty deal, yeah? Well, despite how the detractors may sound antagonistic in nature, when what you are being accused of is something deplorable, or something that is true beyond a reasonable doubt, the detractors start to seem more sovereign in nature. The lies catch up, the mask of aliases starts to crack, and all that hard work and effort was destroyed over said actions. But wait, who was I talking about? With the birth of YouTube commentary, and as a result the gameplay storytelling genre, many found themselves looking up to the creators that specialized in these videos, so much so that they became the creators they once idolized. One creator that was no stranger to this concept was Cyrus is OK. Cyrus conformed to the style of content that favored reactionary videos with CSGO's surf gameplay, typically talking about videos that were just flat out stupid as low-hanging fruit to dunk on. It was lazy, sure, but the videos made by both Cyrus and a majority of the other creators on the platform at the time had an innate charm to them. Many others included Scrubby, Benji, and more importantly, Bumpkin, who will be a player mentioned further down the road of this video. If you were on YouTube at the time, as was I, you could probably remember getting home from middle school and sitting down to watch these creators. Inspired directly from the pinnacle of low-hanging fruit commentary, Leafy is here, these creators often pumped out the same content almost daily to an unimaginable extent. However, due to the lazy nature of their videos, these creators were often easily disconnected from their internet personas, allowing them to pursue other means of self-expression. Cyrus was no true outlier to this concept. After quitting YouTube and getting his channel deleted, Cyrus focused solely on his music platform that he had been crafting, Star67. Cyrus initially began music creation around 2020, however it's speculated that his time in the community predated this first alias. He began under the name, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but it's on screen right now because I know I'm going to butcher it, releasing a few songs before taking them down. These songs reflect the time very well, demonstrating what sort of music was popular in 2020. The hyperpop style Cyrus frequented was a short-lived fad, as he began his edgier phase of music creation. This style can only be described as emo rap or sigilcore. Despite the less than desirable name, the music is actually decent and is definitely catchy at some points. At this point, he would be known under the alias of Star67, and even was in a collective titled Greed, where they specialized in the sigilcore genre. Star67 would continue to create this style of music to much acclaim from his peers and friends. But you didn't really click on this video for Star, nor Cyrus, did you? Born July 24th, 2003, Jeremiah Sims came into our world in the hustle and bustle of Atlanta, Georgia. With a loving mother by the name of Shay Sims in his life, Jeremiah grew up as any other kid with unlimited internet access. Jeremiah had grown up with strabismus, or a cross eye, and got surgery as an infant as well as when he was 6 years old to correct it. It's speculated from recent comments from Shay that Jeremiah grew up with siblings, particularly a few older brothers. It was clear from the jump that Jeremiah had a few problems in his head, as Scrubby recounts a ridiculous yet mildly concerning social situation he had undergone with the young Jeremiah.
Yeah, no, oh, dude. Yeah, I babysat Cyrus, let's be honest here. That was rough.
How was that? Was it like weird?
No, I love Cyrus. I love Cyrus to death. See, I just gotta bully him. Let me make this clear. Everything I'm about to say, I love Cyrus. We had a great time. However, he never opens his eyes. I'm not kidding.
Wait, really?
Like it's a meme, dude. His eyes are always fucking closed. I don't know.
Even off camera, I thought it was just an on camera thing.
No, bro, it was like leading a blind man around everywhere I went. And then okay, he never goes outside ever. Like I guess he just never goes outside. So just imagine my embarrassment. So it's me, my friends, the people I went to college with, and Cyrus. And he wanted to go to Build-A-Bear Workshop. That's not important to the story. I just said that. In Build-A-Bear Workshop, we're in the place. He spends like $400 on Build-A-Bear, so this is already weird. And we're waiting in line to check out. And he's like, I don't want to stand. And he lays down in the middle of the line on the floor in the crowded store. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so awkward.
Of course, as a child with mild issues, Jeremiah grew into his own through the internet, as it was a very desirable pastime for someone of his age around 2016. Despite his infatuation with the internet, I believe personally, Cyrus had one more infatuation nobody really mentions. An infatuation with aliases. Cyrus would change the alias he went by so frequently that I have already covered 3, and that isn't even close to every name he's gone by. On that note, in 2022, he would now be formally known as Cyrus would only truly be a third of Jeremiah's online activity, as Star67 and now Wifiskeleton would make up the majority of his time online. While under the alias Star67, he met many who he would carry into his next persona, many being, but not limited to, Jades, a then at the time plug-and-be artist who was on the brink of an alternative music streak in a similar vein to Jeremiah, as well as 2 key players, Witchbox and Keep Secrets, who he formed the collective known as Goth Angels with. Jades was once a part of this collective, however, after certain events, was kicked by Jeremiah, although their friendship remained. Goth Angels had a very recognizable style of music, using the text-to-speech bot called Kimberly to create taglines such as
"You are so goddamn pathetic," or "better than Nirvana."
The music Goth Angels produced often discussed disturbing themes, to put it lightly, of which consisted of killing themselves, depressive episodes, drugs, killing other people, killing, eating women, stalking, and, for what it's worth, love. Despite the edgy subject matter, it was niche and resonated with fans across the world. The music only got more deep and real as these artists progressed, learning new techniques and experimenting with different styles of music. All of this while collaborating together and uplifting each other, cultivating a community that adored its creators. Wifiskeleton's music in particular was the most touching, through projects like Helen, yet another alias, July, Lovefool, and Fuck National Boyfriend Day were the most sentimental to his devoted audience. Although not being the cogs of the inner workings of Goth Angels, Jeremiah had essentially become the face of the collective as a whole. All of this culminated in October of 2024, with Jeremiah's most acclaimed album, Suburban Daredevil, and its biggest hit, Nope, You're Too Late, I Already Died, featuring I Wanna Be Jack-O-Lantern. The song instantaneously blew up on TikTok, garnering millions of plays within months of its release. The song had a second boom of popularity in the month of May of 2025, funnily enough due to a Peter Griffin cover on TikTok. However, a blessing in disguise, as the song was pushed over 100 million plays on Spotify. With the release of arguably his best and most well-produced album, Pony, in the same month time span, the future was bright for Jeremiah. But hold on, I'm moving a little fast for comfort, aren't I? We never talked about one key factor that started this all. The reason that Jeremiah is now Wifiskeleton as opposed to being Cyrus. Why did Cyrus quit? I want to preface this section with something that may off-put you, the viewer, to watch the remainder of this video, assuming that you are, in fact, a Wifiskeleton fan. However, I feel as if sharing my opinion now and justifying it throughout this video will keep my storytelling largely unbiased in nature. It's very unlikely Jeremiah was totally innocent in the situation that I am about to digress into. I will not, for the sake of integrity, say that he is totally 100% guilty. On that note, Jeremiah pulled the wool over his audience's eyes for years, and I don't totally blame them for being misled. The average internet user isn't going to look further past a response video from someone they idolize and favor. It honestly doesn't make any sense to do so. However, if I've just described you, the viewer, watching this, then please, hear out the rest of the information in this video and then come to a conclusion on the allegations and general situation at hand. On January 24th, 2023, Jeremiah would post a video out of the consistent commentary nature onto the Cyrus YouTube channel. Posting a black thumbnail and a serious tone, it would mark the beginning of the end for the Cyrus persona. Jeremiah admittingly digresses into his history of being a quote-unquote serial e-cheater and taking advantage of many girls online with his platform. Jeremiah couldn't take the positive feedback he had been receiving for months at that point in time, as it ate away at his guilty conscience. In light of this video, many girls came out with their testimonies of their experiences with Jeremiah, most notably Hello Indigo. Indigo chronicles that she had dated Jeremiah when she was 15 and he was 17, noting that he spoke in a baby voice when upset, had delusions consistent of an individual with schizophrenia, and swore up and down to her that he was an angel sent from God that made a blood pact for YouTube fame. Additionally, this document would start the circulation of a rather unsavory image of Jeremiah featuring a binky in his mouth. You may be questioning me, Salty, why would he make this video? It's just e-cheating. Why would this mark the end of his career? And frankly, I'd be in agreement with you, as it is rather irrelevant in nature. But what if I were to tell you that it is likely that this video was made to get in front of allegations that would only be released after its production? Allegations so heinous it would cause the end of any creator's career. Allegations of interactions with a minor. Soon after Jeremiah posted his video, Twitter account Milkslean, known as Jess, posted a video in which Jeremiah admits to talking inappropriately with someone quote-unquote too young.
I was talking to her. There had been this thing going on for a really long time where she'd message me really horny stuff, right? And I would do the thing on Snapchat where you slide slowly so you can see the message without it opening and stuff. And I remember in the beginning, but this particular day, I don't know, I'd seen it for the billionth time and then I acted on it. And I can't ever undo that, man. I had no reason to act on it. I had no reason to have her added. I had no reason to fucking say hello to her. It's just somebody showed me that they really wanted to do shit with me, and I was like, wow, somebody wants to do shit with me. And then it happened that first time, right? And then the next day I felt a bunch of guilt. She was like, so you didn't like it? I was like, well, I did, but it's wrong. And I was never able to put in the words why it's wrong, even though it's obvious. I'm older than her. I'm too old for her at this age. It's kind of weird. It's pretty fucking weird. I don't know. It wasn't ever about her age, though. I mean, that's just what made me feel so fucking wrong about it in the beginning. And I couldn't say that.
Here's where a lot of the contention with the situation starts. Many people, even close friends and influential artists, claim that the largest age gap Jeremiah had with anyone he dated was 2.5 years. However, throughout even one example with Indigo and many others, a 2-year age gap isn't something that Jeremiah would describe as too young, as it was almost ordinary for him at that point. No, try a 4-year age gap, with the minor only being 12 upon their first interaction. Enter Cherry, the then at the time 12-year-old upon seeing Cyrus for the first time. To set the record straight, Cherry was born on the 4th of July, 2007. As we previously mentioned, Jeremiah was born on the 24th of July, 2003, making an age gap of 3 years and 345 days, essentially 4 years. To put into perspective what this age gap truly meant, Cherry was in the 8th grade, then to the 10th grade by the time they were done talking, while Jeremiah was a 12th grader to a long since graduate by the time they were done talking. This implies that Jeremiah was out of high school, having inappropriate interactions with, at best, a 10th grader. At worst, Jeremiah was graduating while talking inappropriately with a middle schooler. Mind you, they remained in contact past 2022, where Jeremiah would be 19 talking to a 15-year-old. But why don't we dive into Cherry's testimony and their evidence as a whole, and see what was wrong regarding their interactions. Cherry testifies that when she was merely 12 at the end of 2019, she found herself in a rough, idle patch of her life. She expressed this through Twitter while frequently interacting with Jeremiah, where he would reach out in support and straying her away from those thoughts. He then gave her his Snapchat, claiming he didn't use Twitter often and was there for her to talk to her. Cherry had already harbored a parasocial crush on Jeremiah at this time, and began to make advances over Snapchat often. Jeremiah would refrain from interacting with these remarks and comments as a general rule of thumb. However, one day after a harsh breakup, Jeremiah would turn to Cherry for gratification. Jeremiah asked if she wanted to suck his before acquiring explicit pictures to request. This would continue onwards. Other comments consist of Jeremiah talking about her and filling her holes, talking about masturbating to her and moaning her name, and finally calling a picture from when she was 12 attractive. Cherry and Jeremiah ceased contact into late 2022 when she was 15 and he was 19. These allegations would be compiled in a Google Drive with testimonies from other women. However, none of them compare to the severity of the Cherry case. It is important to note that a lot of this organization and general interaction was done by none other than Jess. I want to preface the rest of this video by saying Jess is one of, if not the most incompetent person I've ever seen in charge of making allegations against someone. Her blatant missteps in compiling the story and keeping it straight allowed for Jeremiah to nearly wiggle his way out through discrediting her. Speaking of, how did Jeremiah respond to this? Well, why don't we find out? For now, we will skip over Jeremiah's first response for the sake of the subject matter, as it doesn't really cover what I'm hoping to talk about here. Jeremiah did a good job of dispelling some narratives surrounding girls outside of Cherry. He does this particularly well in the video posted in August of 2024. Firstly, he dispels the narrative of Hello Indigo's initial claims, showing she made these accusations for TikTok clout and lied about their age gap, which was really only 1 year instead of 2. He also talks about the Binky picture and how it was a joke from when he was 15.
A close female friend of mine, who was a year apart in age from me, named Yugaphobic or Hello Indigo, decided to make a TikTok where she lies about our ages, relationship status, and talks about this mental breakdown that I had when I was maybe like 15 or 16 to use it as ammo to call me an unmedicated schizophrenic. If you haven't seen her TikTok, she said that I was 17 or 18 in 2020, and that we dated, and that I was so awful to her, and then said that I was schizo, and that I have evil lawyers that'll hunt her down if she says my name. She even said that I have her address and that I've made threats towards her, and none of that shit is true, like, at all. This is just shit that she said on TikTok that week to get some views, and it worked. She and I never dated, and she is born in 2004, while I'm born in 2003. And on top of that, that photo that everybody sends around of me with the pacifier is a joke photo from when I'm 15 years old.
He also dispels the narrative that his then partner and roommate, Italia, was held under her will and had Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, I really don't know why that was ever an allegation in the first place. In all fairness, outside of Cherry, Jeremiah did a decent job at dispelling certain narratives in this situation as a whole. However, you may be asking, why aren't you showing his response to the Cherry allegations? Well, that's because, my dear viewer, Jeremiah had to make 2 separate responses regarding those allegations. Jeremiah first uploaded a response to the allegations in May of 2023. This video was centrally focused on the allegations that involved his sexual interactions with Cherry. In this video, he would show screenshots of Cherry directly lying about her age and even admitting on call that she had lied about the entire situation.
Like, dude, they have everybody thinking that like I like had sex with a 12-year-old or something.
But no, that's not really what happened, you know.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about what actually happened. They don't give no fucks. I don't know.
They just want to make you look bad.
You'd think it's a done deal, right? Wrong.
You tell me I'm untrue and good for nothing too.
Won't be able to get their PS4s. Yes, that's true, but let's face it, Sir Stan. This is all about you and me getting PlayStation. The rest are simply there to help us get through.
He's lying to you!
For most who consume Jeremiah's music, they probably wouldn't know the term I am about to use to refer to this situation, so let me digress. A gay op is essentially what one would call a situation where you are against somebody and play pretend to be on their side to gather more evidence or dirt on them. Therefore, an operation that is gay in nature, since it is particularly deceptive and not really fair. A gay op is what this evidence that Jeremiah shows is. Jess conspired with Cherry to see if Jeremiah would get back with or say anything unsavory to Cherry to use it to push her narrative further. Although this is another instance of Jess's incompetence and a scummy move in general, the fact of the matter is this was a gay op. The other fact of the matter is, Jeremiah knew this was a gay op up to 3 days before he made this video. Yes, Jeremiah knew the information he was about to use in this video to prove his innocence was essentially a troll from the start, only done to gather more evidence on him. Jeremiah maliciously misconstrued a gay op as an admission of their guilt in lying about the entire thing. In current day, this video was taken down, however archives still exist showing the flat. As we previously covered, in August of 2024, Jeremiah would release a video responding to the allegations in full, and this video would become what people cite as a complete takedown of the allegation for almost a year's time now. However, there has been a lack of truthfulness with the main screenshot that is the entire serviceable backbone for this video. That being, the screenshot where Cherry admits that she had lied about her age and that she had said she was older than she really was.
Is proof that the girl that really is the poster of these allegations, herself, admitting to lying about her age, merely 1 day after my initial YouTube video. I spent an hour just now going back and forth with some for brains commentary YouTube kid who made the 90th fake allegation coverage video on me for quick views about how this screenshot came to light. And I'm starting to feel like either this guy's the shittiest journalist ever, or he just wants me to be some sort of evil child. Cause dude, for a literal hour, I'm showing this guy this dated screenshot with the time and everything, which clearly comes from one little exposed Discord that they advertised about me, where you can clearly see Cherry or Bunny or whatever you want to call her casually admitting to lying about her age. The frustrating part is, this YouTuber wanted to go back and forth on how since it doesn't have her Discord username, oh, it can't be her.
However, what Jeremiah doesn't want you to know about this screenshot is that it's cropped, and really cropped. So much so that with full context, we can tell that this is just Cherry copying and pasting another girl's story entirely. So no, this story is not one of Cherry's, rather another girl's story totally separate to that of Cherry. Now, to give credit where credit is due, Jeremiah was given this screenshot with the context cut out already, so this is on the creator, Stuya. However, after this video was posted and the full screenshot became public, Jeremiah never bothered to correct the narrative and set the record straight, and just rolled with the lie. So much so that even today, all fans of his Wifiskeleton persona cite it as a debunk of all the allegations. The only way we've even found out that Jeremiah is aware of this error and that he claims Stuya sent it to him with the context cut out is because I had to ask him personally. This information was hidden in a video about Jades, therefore never truly reaching the public ire, and I take some accountability for that. I acquired a full response out of Jeremiah. While I won't feature all of it in this video for time's sake, I will post a full reading of the DM exchange in the description if you'd like to have a listen. For generalization's sake, Jeremiah spends most of his time discrediting Jess as a bad faith narrator, which in fairness, she is, and saying that because Cherry had made other allegations towards other individuals that it somehow made his void. He also speaks how he doesn't have access to the response account, therefore couldn't take the video down. But my question was, you have a public platform, why not use it to say anything along the lines of, my last video was inaccurate? Largely, I think these DMs are the most legitimate and non-facetious response we received out of Jeremiah. Although I think Jeremiah harped on Jess a little too much, considering proving her to be unreliable is pretty easy, while his claims against Cherry are a little lackluster in nature. But why wouldn't he publicize this information? Well, on May 5th of 2025, Jeremiah Sims would tragically On the night of May 4th, 2025, Jeremiah was in the Miami region of Florida with many he called friends, but most notably 2 creators, Ice Mop and Bumpkin. It was assumed that Jeremiah, during this visit, met with Jaden at the jail he was staying at, as at 2 a.m. on the morning of the 4th, Jeremiah would claim that Mandy is home soon. To this day, Jaden is still imprisoned, and the likelihood of Jeremiah's words being influenced by abuse was very high. Jeremiah went on IG Live to speak with his fans and to have a meetup at a convenience store nearby. This can be corroborated with a message he sent in the Goth Angels Discord server nearing 10 p.m. on the 4th. In this IG Live, Jeremiah would have some concerning choice words for his fans.
Hey, y'all. I'm finna pull up to a gas station and post the ID on my story. If you wanna pull up and me, it's the time to do it. If you wanna get a flick with me, it's the time to do it. I'm a night and myself. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna actually do that. But yeah, nah. Pull up, come hang, and say what's up, man.
Little did anybody know, Jeremiah would no longer be with us merely hours later. With a culture of substance abuse being at the forefront of Goth Angels, and as a result the scene in general, it's no surprise Jeremiah wanted to try substances like Xanax and other benzos or narcotics in light of a trip to Miami, as the city possesses a rampant problem. As previously mentioned, on the night of the 4th, Jeremiah was with Ice Mop and the ex-commentator Bumpkin. Both Jeremiah and Ice Mop were each taking Xanax and lean throughout the night, never quite overdoing it. However, each time Jeremiah would ask to do more and more drugs on top of the ones they had already taken. So much so that Ice Mop claims to have hit the pills right out of his hand, and at one point even went as far as to hide them in a toaster to no avail.
This breaks me, bro. Did you give him the... I was smacking that shit out of him, bro. Out of his hands. I was smacking every out of his hands. I hid the pills in a toaster, and he found them.
Before the night ended, Ice Mop and another individual at the Airbnb they had been renting decided it would be a good idea to tell the plugs they had received said from to tell Jeremiah they were out of stock entirely. It's at this point in the night that Ice Mop was tired and decided to head to bed. He woke that morning to find Jeremiah sleeping next to him and didn't question anything. He then decided to go grab Red Bulls for the two of them to prepare for the day of fun ahead. Upon returning to the Airbnb with the drinks, he found Jeremiah slumped on his side, dead. Ice Mop soon told Bumpkin, who called 911 immediately. However, nothing could be done to save Jeremiah, as he had long since overdosed and was officially pronounced at 2:52 p.m. that afternoon. This would all be publicized through a Discord announcement and a live stream that Ice Mop conducted the same day. It's noteworthy that Ice Mop is very cold and emotionless through this live stream, which didn't help with the narrative that was already brewing. The Ice Mop had killed Jeremiah. Many, likely with a mix of sadness, grieving, and anger, pointed fingers at Ice Mop, accusing him of lacing Jeremiah. Now, this doesn't make sense in the slightest and was a total knee-jerk reaction in light of your favorite artist or friend. Suffice to say, Ice Mop's inconsistent story is truly what attributed to this narrative. Outside of that, however, using common sense, we can determine that if Ice Mop was taking the same drugs as Jeremiah, there would be no possibility of lacing being involved. Also, on that front, if Ice Mop was high, how does he, a person under the influence, bear the responsibility of ensuring Jeremiah's safety? It didn't make any sense for him to friend. However, this would only really be cleared up when iMessage, another artist affiliated with Goth Angels, went on live with both Zill and Ice Mop, who was accompanied by Bumpkin. It's important to know that Zill was particularly accusatory towards Ice Mop and was of the opinion that Ice Mop had Jeremiah's blood on his hands. A rather unreasonable accusation fueled by pure grief, but suffice it to say that Bumpkin is likely the most reliable narrator we have in this entire situation, as he remained sober the night of May 4th. Ice Mop first digresses into how Jeremiah, since he was physically bigger than him, could take the pills back easily, and presumes the to be a result of the lean as opposed to the Xans. After some more accusatory claims from Zill, Ice Mop, making a good decision, passes his phone to Bumpkin, and from here is where we acquire a bit more of a cohesive timeline of events and reasoning for the situation.
Anytime you take anything out of his hand, he'll tell you he's a grown-ass man and that he knows what he's doing. You take it out of his hand, he'll literally... And have you seen Skell in person?
Yeah, I was supposed to next month.
So you haven't seen him in person?
Yeah, because of fucking you, now it's too fucking late. No, but go ahead.
Don't say because of me in anyways, but he is a pretty big person. Not like, I'm not calling him fat. I'm not ever gonna call that nigga fat. But he's gonna snatch that shit, bro. He's gonna snatch that shit regardless. I did tell him. I kept telling him over and over again, bro, don't do that. I said
so the moment he hangs out with you guys, all of a sudden he wants to do Xans, all of a sudden he wants to do a drink, all of a sudden.
Here, let me give the phone to Bumpkin. Bumpkin can explain.
Yo, Scott, let me talk to you because you be thinking you know shit. Yo, I got a question, bro. So, when a nigga buys Xans, and he really wants to do them because he wanted to do Xans, if you actually knew that nigga, you would know he's been talking about it for a while now, doing Xans. What would you do if that nigga bought the Xans and they shut up? What would you do with them? I would throw them away, bro. Right. So, wait, no, pause. So, if he buys more, what would you do with them? Throw them away. Right, so, and if he buys more, what would you do with them? Throw them away. One thing I wouldn't do. Eventually, like, while he's buying them Xans, he's just gonna fucking do them instead of letting you throw them away. But I wouldn't pass the bag to him like I smelled it yesterday. Yersky wasn't VC, bro. I can get Yersky and Ludacris in here. Yesterday, we were on call with him. I fucking still asked Ice Mop to pass him the bag, and Ice Mop passed him the bag. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad y'all was on call him, but Ice Mop also was doing drugs, so, like, why would he not pass the drugs that this nigga bought to him? Because he's saying that he was hiding the drugs in the toaster and he was smacking them out of his hands. Yeah, niggas were hiding the drugs. That's my fucking point. How is he hiding them and smoking them at the same time? What are you fucking talking about? If somebody hides drugs and then the nigga buys more, how are we gonna hide them in his face? See, you niggas are talking about how you was on call. What the fuck is you finna do on call? You don't even know shit on call. You just know the nigga you talking to. I'm hearing this shit because you niggas are lying. When y'all were passing them drugs, so many people yesterday were on call with them, and each time they were on call, niggas heard that Ice Mop was passing them pills, bro. So like, you can't say you were hiding them on live and doing all this shit when you were passing it to him at the same time. Okay, but that's the thing though. Two things can be true. He could hide some, and he could pass some others. iMessage was on the live, and he was saying that Killstuff told him an entirely different story. What? If he didn't go to Miami, none of this shit would ever happen. How would you say he goes to Miami? Don't know if that's true because that nigga was looking for Xans everywhere. That's retarded. He just found him in Miami. That's so hindsight. That's so dumb. What are you fucking talking about? That nigga would have found Xans in Missouri eventually, but he was looking for Xans for the whole fucking year. That shit don't even make no damn sense. And then he goes to Miami with Ice Mop and he finds them? You think just because he popped out with Ice Mop was like, I know where all the drugs in Miami at? That nigga doesn't even live here. Yeah, but that's fucking retarded. You're making it sound like he just walked in and found his Xans on Ice Mop. I'm hearing different stories. I'm hearing shit from you. I'm hearing shit from Ice Mop. Yeah, you're hearing a whole lot of stories, right? Yeah, from all of you. Are you listening to niggas that were here? Yes, you, Ice Mop, Killstuff. Why is everyone telling a different story? Alright, listen to the one nigga that literally didn't touch a fucking Xan the whole trip, except to hide them bitches and to flush them. I'm telling you right now, him and Ice Mop and a few niggas with us did those Xans and drank that lean. Nobody tried to give him the Xans. Nobody tried to like put him onto some shit. It came to the house and he did them bitches with everybody else that did them. That's the only nigga that was on retarded shit because he had bought them, so he knew where the drugs was at, even if we hit him. Of course he's gonna fucking buy more once we hide all of them and get some more. That should be a fucking given.
From what Bumpkin details, Jeremiah continuously purchased drugs throughout the night and seemingly past the point where both Ice Mop and Bumpkin fell asleep. No matter their efforts to hide the drugs, Jeremiah was violently chasing the high and fell lower than imaginable. This tragedy would be remarked worldwide in Goth Angels, but also on the internet as a whole. Jeremiah's Wifiskeleton persona blew up larger than ever after the news of his passing. Let it be known that there are still some conspirators around today that think something was particularly wrong with his death in nature. Personally, I think on all accounts there is no justifiable reasoning or evidence to suspect that this was planned or an intentional event. Afterwards, discourse would spread on the once beloved creator, speculating whether his death was accidental or suicidal due to the Instagram Live before his passing. As much as it is strange and concerning, it must be said that Jeremiah expressed messages like these and worse in his music, so I do not believe it is fair to say that this is evidence of a suicide, especially considering the inner circle of Jeremiah's friends being against that idea as well. I mean, if we go by that logic, everything Jeremiah has said about stalking and killing women must apply to his real life, yes? In all, the situation was a tragedy, and as much as he was a controversial figure, Jeremiah did not deserve to meet his end at the mere age of 21 years old, or anytime soon for that matter. With the passing of Jeremiah Sims, creating discourse on the allegations that plagued the creator is difficult to say the least. There are many bad faith actors that disrespect Jeremiah in death due to the allegations, which is inappropriate and morally bankrupt. However, on the other hand, there are bad faith actors who will use his passing as an excuse to not have any discourse on the matter, or flat out blame his passing on those who created and fought for the allegations. Even Mesmerizing to You, a key member of Goth Angels, wished death upon Jess after Jeremiah's passing. Speaking of mesmerizing, where was that response video to the allegations? It's been well over a month's time at the time of scripting, yet nothing came about this. I'm not even being facetious, but I'm interested as to what Jeremiah's friends have to say about the situation. I think it is fair to say that Jeremiah Sims helped many people in his life, whether it be with his music, or just who he was to people that held him near. However, it is not fair to disregard heinous and morally irreparable actions in light of good ones, especially when Jeremiah was willing to lie to save face for years on end. Discourse on allegations that are, frankly, incriminating yet still up in the air shouldn't be disregarded because of his passing. It has been an eye-opening and enlightening experience to say the least in the process of this video's creation, as Wifiskeleton fans will mindlessly believe the response video that Jeremiah released before his passing in August without looking any deeper. The aim of this video was to show the true narrative of the situation, how skeletons have been hidden in the closet, how Jeremiah's passing obfuscated not only his prior allegations in internet history, yet also the events leading up to his passing itself. It must be said that my deepest condolences, no matter how much I may think some may be scummy, go out to Jeremiah's friends in particular, who have had to hold this burden since his passing. To look on the bright side for a change, Jeremiah's mother, Shay, and his girlfriend, Heidi, seem to be in good spirits at current day, posting about their late son/partner. Cyrus, Star67, Wifiskeleton, and Jeremiah Sims. All names that have deeply engraved their memory into many people's lives, whether it be for better or for worse. In conclusion, don't lie, always check for ages, fuck drugs, and rest in peace, Jeremiah Sims.
Baby, cut me, don't hurt me, break my fucking ribs and give me wings like you're a